Hi, this is Shadi, and today we'll be discussing sumo injuries and injuries in the stand-up grappling world in general, because I do believe they all share one common cause. So I've been grappling for a few years now, and between the ground and the stand-up, I realized that the most dangerous thing is not a particular technique or a particular attack on a body part, a specific body part like the legs or below the belt. And the number one cause of injury, to me at least, is uncontrolled, random flying weight. The explosiveness of stand-up grappling really causes this to happen. So flying kanibasami, flying guard pulls, flying arm bars, dropping down on someone, these what will cause injuries. So before we start with a little bit of sumo cases, let's read a little bit about some of the forbidden techniques. Now granted, they may change from country to country. This is from USA Sumo, but the basics are all there. For example, punching with a closed fist. When it comes to slapping and shoving, like harite or the slaps, they should be done from a straight angle or like a jab almost, not one with a flared elbow or a 90-degree. You can pause this and read this. You can also see the hair pulling, the nodowa, which is the throat thrust. The same thing. It should not be done from a flared elbow, and we're gonna see why is that in a bit with Hakuho and his KO. Also choking and kicking, grabbing below the belt. It changes. Obviously, some they still do standing kataguruma, but when it comes to shoving and pushing, it should be done from like a jab position, almost, not with a flared elbow. So here, let's take a look at the throat thrust and how they actually do it, or what's called the nodowa. Here, you are actually applying pressure. The arm is straight. It's not coming from the side. You are progressively doing it until your opponent is outside of the ring. It's called nodowa. You can call it throat thrust. We also have the harite, which are the slaps. Same thing. You are pushing forward. They are not coming from the side with a flared elbow or 90-degree arm. Here you are seeing it again. You should be pushing like as if it's coming from your chest, or like you're pushing up or bench pressing. So you clearly can see here, it can be done safely, obviously, but the problem comes when you actually flare the arm up. Like here, Hakuho, he had his elbow to the side and almost gave him like an elbow to the chin. Let's see it from here. This is very nasty, in my opinion. Stuff like that, like Chris Sumo said, the reform, etc. This stuff should be hansokumake. It should be an elimination and not a victory. He was clearly concussed after this fight. Also, not to mention the heavy weight of these fighters. If you want to be a Yokozuna, they really push the envelope on their body weight, and you have all this weight crashing into each other. You are asking for trouble. But let's talk about Hibiki Ryu. Someone mentioned this recently, talking about a sumo wrestler being dropped on his head. This one here, 28 years old, passed away in April, I believe, a month after this injury. He was dropped with what we call in Judo a uki otoshi, or floating drop, and he was down for minutes. The lack of medical staff, etc., I'm sure it contributed to the problem. Here you can see the aftermath of the fight. It wasn't like he just stood up or he was wobbling. No, he just almost like you threw a sack of potato on the ground. You can find the video on YouTube in its entirety. So here also in Judo, it can still happen, someone being dropped on their head with this tsukashi by Vieru. Now, was this intentional? Obviously not. But the point of this video is that when you're in stand-up grappling, Judo, wrestling, sumo, Sambo, a lot can go wrong because, like I said, random flying weight, the explosiveness of the disciplines, and also the high level and the competitiveness of the fighters, which will cause a lot of injuries. So does that mean that we should go around and making all sorts of rules? Obviously not. We cannot do that, because it's not just martial arts or fighting sports or combat sports, but you can see it in basketball, you can see it in football, American football, rugby, baseball. People will fall in a bad way unintentionally and will have serious injuries. I watch Champions League. Knee injuries, ankle injuries are all over the place. People just flying into each other, tackling. Should we ban tackles and make it only upper body tackles? Obviously, we cannot do that. The same way with judo. You might see someone getting dropped on their head from an ippon seoinage, or something might happen like an uchimata sukashi, like you saw here with Dennis Vieru. So my point is, the athletes that are going into something, they should know the full extent of their sport or their discipline, and they should just accept it and take responsibility. There's a reason why we have insurance. There's a reason why we have policies, etc. Now, this brings me to the topic of BJJ. BJJ, they always say that, look, we have kanibasami, we have leg grabs, we have leg locks, we have all these things. Why are you being so soft? But the reality is, they truly lack that explosive element. Any wrestler or any judoka that's have seen BJJ takedowns in competition, IBJJ World, they will say, this looks very sloppy. But in reality, it's actually keeping them very safe. The fact that they cannot do it in this very explosive manner, it actually protects them. And also, they want to quickly go to the ground where everything is far more controlled, where they can isolate a leg, they can isolate an arm, and they just apply pressure and get the tap. In judo, sometimes you do not get that. Sometimes someone is in a compromised position. The moment they are considered quote-unquote in newaza, we just jump into them and apply pressure. Now imagine someone doing that on the leg, on the knee, like the jumping knee bars in Sambo. You can easily find a compilation in Sambo where injuries just look absolutely horrific. I saw this kid that started a submission from the stand-up on the leg. He rolled through it. The other guy rolled with him. And the kid that was actually applying the calf slice ended up having his leg dislocated from his pelvis. So when BJJ say we have all these things that are forbidden in other sports, is because the fact that they don't know takedowns is actually protecting them a great deal. The fact that they pull guard by putting their leg on the stomach like tomoe-nage and pull the fight to the ground, it's actually, I can't tell you how many injuries it's preventing. The worst thing that you can do is just not tap from a submission, and that's how you get injured. That's why they say, heel hooks are safe, knee bars, etc. But again, they lack that flying weight element that you see in sumo, that you see in judo, wrestling, sambo, etc. Sambo, in my opinion, can be just absolutely brutal. It's great, it's beautiful, etc. But judo, safety is far more taken into consideration. Kanibasami, when you see like the kanibasami I'm putting here in front of you, you would see why such a thing is banned. You are not leaving an option for the other person to tap out or just concede an ippon in general. So when it comes to reform, okay, in sumo, this is my judo perspective. First of all, a flared elbow should be hansukumake like in Hakuho's situation. The second thing is, why not add weight divisions to the Yokozuna? Not everyone wants to push the envelope, but a lot of them, they want to be a Yokozuna, they want to be highly paid and regarded in society as high status and, having the appreciation they deserve, so they just become overweight. Regardless of the fat distribution or anything, it's still a lot of weight on their joints, on their body, and also when they clash into each other, it's gonna cause a lot of problems. Why not make it like judo? You have these weight categories, but in all Japan, everyone can compete against everyone. So this is my observation, I would say. A lot of these things will keep happening, unfortunately. As long as you are moving fast, interacting with other people, injuries are still going to happen. Flying weight, in my opinion, uncontrolled, is the root of so many injuries. But when you're in a controlled manner or a controlled environment like BJJ, that's why you see so much reduction in injuries. But regardless, injuries are still there, but not of people smashing into each other, jumping into each other, rolling into each other, etc. Like, for example, they had the guard slams, jumping guard pulls, they banned them. That was the only explosive element they had, and they banned it because of the repercussions it has. So, if you have anything else to add, please let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only. I post there once a week. And don't forget to check out the links in the description below. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.